What time is it in the world of Simon Stoddart?
3:32 a.m.
Oh, bloody hell.
What?
And as from this coming weekend, it'll be an 8-hour time difference. It's 7 hours at the moment, and of course you lucky lot get the clocks going back at the weekend, don't you?
Blimey.
We do. Is that lucky? I've never considered myself to be lucky for that, having that happen.
If there's one thing I do not miss about being in England, it's those bloody clocks going back. Horrendous.
I'm sure I've had one of those famous Simon Stoddard rants on Facebook or Twitter about that. I'm sure you.
Oh, there is somewhere.
Yeah.
There will be. There will be. Yeah, it's awful. Hated it. Yeah, so I won't miss that. It gets dark about the same time every day out here, between 5:45 and 6:10 throughout the year, and that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, but never mind. I'll get it sorted out. I've been following from afar what's been going on in
Not been much
Hastings.
happening, to be fair.
No,
nothing
mate,
really.
Oh, Jesus. I've never known a 6-month period like it.
It's a thriller in Manila, mate. Thriller. This is going to be a thriller in Manila.
Well, thank Christ for the internet, because it does keep me in touch 90%. But there's some things you miss by not being there, definitely.
And some things you don't mind missing by not being there.
Yeah. But you do an invaluable job there, Chris, with your podcast, mate. I think people don't get involved so much because it's just a bit of a palaver getting in on it. I always struggle a bit with Zoom for some reason, and that's why I asked you earlier on how to join the bloody thing, because I
don't give away the magic,
Simon.
You're giving away the magic now. Okay, you didn't try it. You came on this first time, didn't you?
Yeah, smooth as silk it was.
Smooth as silk.
Yeah, it's a great podcast, mate. It really is. It's invaluable.
There's money being sent to
we've got to be able to fit his head on the screen.
Yeah, exactly. What I like the best is see here, it's a Brave New World. You know the book, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is for the episode 109. The previous, I do like a thumbnail for every episode. I don't know if anyone ever notices. I might just do it for myself, my own pleasure. But the previous one had Femi, Bailey, and Craig Stone on it.
All right,
all together. So I do these things like 6 to 8 weeks ahead of time, when I can. And obviously, we'll talk about it later, but it appears they've all gone. So it's my influence, obviously, to get rid of these people, I think.
The one I was sorry to see go was Bailey. I don't quite know what that's about. I think Akinwande goes where the money is.
Do you think? Really?
I think. Yeah. Well, somewhat cynically. Yeah. It just
pay as you go, Femi. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know what the thought amongst you lads was. We Hastings play up at Hornchurch the other night, and then next minute he's signed for him. But then that's semi-professional football, isn't it? It happens like that. So
we even gave him a lift there. I mean, how? I mean, it's got, look how we look after these people.
Well,
anyway. Just to say, this is episode 109 of the Fan Roundtable. We're already cracking into it. The wonderful Simon Stoddard here from Luzon in the Philippines.
That's it.
Yes.
That's it. Nice one, mate.
And Ian Grant, after lots of drop-offs, I don't know what type of things he was dropping off, but he was dropping them off. And Ian's here as well. Thank you, first of all, chaps, for being on. Wonderful lads. Again, the Hastings fans have outdone themselves. Constant requests to be on this podcast, but they're lucky too. Ian and Simon, they're the winners today. Please carry on. Anyway, Simon, we were saying.
Well, so far as this is concerned, well, I'll keep blasting for you on in my program column. I'll be quite
gut feeling, yeah.
Yeah, I'll try and get more people. I'll try and push the case for it. Push the case for your podcast on there, mate. And it's a shame, really. I think tonight's just unfortunate. It's weird, really, because it's been such an interesting week, and yet we've only got a couple of people come in. It's weird,
Simon.
Isn't it?
It's very fortunate. Two wonderful minds such as yourself and Ian's to come on. I feel very
We-
proud.
I'm sure the three of us. I'm sure the three of us will do our best. I do.
Yeah.
I do sympathise, mate, because it's similar to my days of doing the fanzine all those years ago. You get to the stage where you think, oh, it'd be nice if somebody else helped me out with some material or whatever, And there's a limit to what you can do on your own, isn't there?
No, it's true. It's true. And obviously, shout out to anyone, please. Every week, I'm always got that invite out there. It's good fun. I don't know what else to say.
There are no reprisals afterwards.
Yeah,
I've had nothing bad has happened to me as a consequence of being on this round table over the however long it's been.
Or
I mean, to be fair, nothing outstandingly good has happened either.
Exactly.
But it's been all right.
You don't have to look over your shoulder. That's the main thing.
No more than I do normally.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
Near that West Hill, mate. Anyway, well, it's been a tumultuous few weeks since the last pod has been out. It only felt like 3 weeks ago, I feel, three and a half weeks ago, that I did an interview with Paul Barnes where we talked about budgets and the future. And, well, the Barnes era came to an end after, a run of poor results and poor performances, defeat to Wingate and Finchley 3-2, and he was sacked a few days later. I wasn't at that game. I mean, we're going to talk about the Barnes era, the long dynasty that it was. But you were at the 3-2 defeat, weren't you, Ian?
I was, yeah. It was a strange game. It's we were talking on the podcast in the week before about how it was kind of near enough a must-win game, and we were as flat as we had been in the previous weeks. Really, I can put a certain amount of it down to lack of confidence. You get on a bad run and confidence falls and all that sort of thing. But it was very flat, and we didn't really create very much. They didn't really create very much either. We had a horrendous mix-up for the first goal just before half-time, so that meant we were behind. And then they scored 2 goals quite early in the second half, so we were 3-0 down. They were, again, bad goals to give away, really. So at that point, 3-0 down, the atmosphere was mutinous, electric. I think it'd be fair to say. And you sort of thought, well, this could get really ugly. And then we kind of reacted. It was like, various players got sufficiently pissed off that that things started to happen, and we got 2 goals back quite quickly, sort of pushed without really convincing for an equaliser. But there was just that sort of 20-minute period after we'd gone 3-0 down, whereas, particularly David, but others were kind of really pushing on, really, being a bit braver with the ball, a bit more committed. And you just sort of thought, God almighty, why can't we be like this more often? Why does it have to be 3-0 down at home to a not very good team before we actually really get sufficiently riled up to have a go? So it was a very unsatisfying afternoon, and it was not a great surprise, the news the next day, I think it's fair to say.
No, I know. It was very handy. I couldn't make that game because I was working. I managed to borrow my season ticket to someone, so I actually felt glad that I missed that one, which is and the person I borrowed it to wasn't happy that they saw that, but free game. Anyway, so the Barnes era came to an end. I think we kind of touched on it earlier in the other podcast, the week before, the few weeks before, that the way things were looking, that something needed to change. Obviously, Simon, you've been away, so you've not seen it, but there was particularly lack of effort, lack of commitment from not all the players, but a key few who have since moved on. Let's just say,
right.
And it was very un-Hastings. There's certain things that are drummed into those players that have been trained up, obviously, by the Dean Whites of the world, that there's a certain level of commitment and a passion and certain standards that are just a given, no matter if you're winning or losing. And and Paul Barnes kept playing those people. Paul Barnes carries on being a nice guy. He's still a nice guy, making nice statements about everyone.
He talks a good game, doesn't he? Talks a good game.
I know. As I was saying to David, because I've got an interview for this week, I did with David Radari. I did it on Monday, and he says how much of a nice guy he is, and it was, and it's like, as I said to David, it's like, well, there's a point where you can't be a nice guy anymore. If the people that you're picking are not doing it for you, you need to, and well, this cost him his job, you know. And it's like, oh yeah, it's only 10 games in, but Ian, how bad has it been?
Well, I mean, it's been pretty bad. As I think I said last time around, that the first half against Kingstonian, where was just, I mean, it was really awful. And that's the worst I've seen for really quite some time. I think, you know, obviously there's the factor of the fact that he's not the new owner's guy, so that means that he's slightly having to prove himself. And you know, it went okay at the start of the season, but then once things start to tail off, I sort of think any team can kind of go on a run of bad results, but you have to. But when you're not getting any kind of response from the players, there's no kind of level of performance to bounce back, no intensity, no sort of sense that it's really hurting anybody. That becomes a real worry. You know, that's more of a worry than the results. I think the performance is really. And it was it was so flat, so lacking in any kind of intensity. The kind of leaders that you would expect to stand up were very quiet. It was all very quiet from the touchline, which I don't really mind managers being quiet on the touchline sometimes, because I think sometimes all the kind of constant flow of information must do players' heads in. But you sort of think, well, you're only getting maybe 1 or 2 coaching sessions with these players a week. So in a sense, the time when you're on the touchline and they're on the pitch is another coaching session, isn't it, really? And if there's nothing coming, it was very, very quiet.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you're following Gary Elphick, who's notably not very quiet. So it's quite a contrast. But yeah, it was just it was going nowhere, really, unfortunately.
Yeah, it did crash and burn very quickly. It felt to me like people just didn't fancy it. They just decided they didn't fancy it. There was nothing there. You think, you know, we've all, God, Watford QPR fans, we've all seen crap football. We've seen us when we've been down. But you always had those people out there that were like, you know, trying to, if it's not going for you, let's keep it simple, G the boys up, you know, and it just was so just defeated. It was just such a, you know, and it just shows you with obviously the change with obviously Don Vose going and Tyler Christian Law, and I'll put it on record as that's the worst captain I've ever seen on a football pitch, let alone someone thinking they're the best player. I honestly don't know. Well, maybe I'll watch a different game, and maybe because I'm a fan, you know, I'm
now trying to think who the worst captain I've ever seen is. So I'll try and come back to you with an answer.
Well, the shortest reign, I mean, like at Hastings, that's the worst I've seen. I mean, when we start talking, obviously our clubs, QPR, Watford, there's a fine array of
that certainly is.
baseball talent there as well. So, so maybe I'm proving myself wrong, but again, it was just people just didn't fancy it, and absolute praise to the owners. They weren't having that, and we changed it quickly.
Yeah, that's good.
You know,
I think the other thing is, you know, this division is quite a tough division, and if you look at the teams we've lost against recently, they are not the teams at the top of the division. And it's just, if you're not on it in this, you know, against even teams down towards the bottom, if you're not on it, they'll beat you. And we've found out that the kind of hard way. We've slightly attempted to breeze through some of these games, I think, looking at the league table a little too much, maybe.
I think the start that they got off to possibly, I don't know, brought in a little bit of overconfidence. I don't know. Seemed too good to be true. But then again, as Ian says, you know, look who we've been playing. You know, you're playing teams towards the bottom. I mean, the fixture, what the fixtures came up with for those first few games was unbelievable, really. And you had the win at Dulwich, which I follow every game from afar, and I was following that. I thought, look at that, 2-1 up away to Dulwich, brilliant. But Dulwich have been shit this season. They've been terrible.
Dulwich have got a completely new team. Their whole team went all the relegated clubs. Most of their players left at the end of last season. And it's just something we're not used to. Like, I'm not used to it, and you know, I'm like very emotional when all the lads went. I'm not used to that. I'm used to a core being there. So it's I saw that.
I saw that 20 years ago when we got relegated in 2002, 2003, and it was bloody heartbreaking to see what was a good team just break up and go, which is what you get in football at whatever level, I suppose. In particular, semi-professional football. That was horrendous seeing all those players go. Seeing 3 of them go along the road to Eastbourne Borough really rubbed salt in the wound. It's a bit like the 3 lads that went to Whitehall.
Oh yeah, Whitehawk, yeah,
and Jake going to Lewis. But the thing was that back then you had an idea of what it was all about, because we'd just been relegated, and Mick Mapleson, who was the owner at the time, the lottery winner number 2, he had his health problems, and the financial aspect of keeping the club going was beginning to bite home for him. And so he called it a day. So you could see what was going to happen. But what's happened this last, where it started with Billy Wood going, and then I watched Gary Elphick's interview on YouTube, and I thought, geez, he does not sound upbeat. This is on the back of 2 really good seasons, a promotion season, and then we've just missed out on the playoffs at the higher level a year later. We've had 2 bloody good seasons. And listen to him. He does not sound like he's had a meeting with the owners, whatever, and something has transpired there. And that was just the start of the mass exodus, wasn't it? And there's never been and it still bugs me that there's never been any great explanation for it, just letting people know what was going on. I put something in the programme about it at the beginning, and Paul Hoggard, who puts together a bloody good programme, he got torn off a strip by Darren Burney about it. And all he'd done was reproduce what I said. Bernie never came and said anything to me. And 2 weeks later, he's gone. So the whole thing's bizarre, to be honest.
It's all down to you, Simon, then.
It's my fault. Yeah, it's my fault and Paul Hoggard's fault, for having the nerves. Basically, what I said was just tell people what's going on. You're watching all those players go. You watched a full first-team squad disappear one by one. And just think if we kept that squad with maybe a couple going, which is what you get, and added Adam Lovett and David Radari to that lot, Gordon Bennett, where would we be now? But we'll never know, will we?
Early days, Simon. Season's not over.
Yeah. Well, Chris, it's a big gleam of light at the end of the tunnel getting Chris back. I'm so pleased about that.
No, we've got the wonderful Ben Bennett here. Ben, we were going to just start talking about Aggie. Eddie, do you want to maybe just quickly touch on the Paul Barnes era? We've had a little bit of a conversation about it, but anything you want to add to it?
Since the last time? He
weren't sacked. He weren't sacked last time, was he?
No, that was just after Hornchurch, wasn't it? Yeah, it was in between Hornchurch and Wingate, wasn't it? It was. I wasn't too upbeat at that point, to be honest. I was trying to find positives out of nothing. The Hornchurch first half was all right, but yeah, it was. Sadly, you never like to say it, but I thought it was coming. I think it'd been brewing for 2 or 3 games. So yeah, sadly, but that's it now. The thing is, that's it. We won't be talking about players like Tyler Christian Law next week, will we?
I think Chris will be.
I went into one on it. I'm gonna get myself in trouble.
That's one sort of player that we're not going to remember, are we? Let's be honest. Remember him for not really hearing much about him until he gets booked in the game of football. But other than that, you can just see you later out the door.
And his song, that's been retired as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, I wasn't really a fan of it, that's for sure.
No, you were. You're the first to sing it, Ben.
Mate, I'm very picky sometimes. Anyway, yeah.
Go on. Yeah.
Just a sort of overall thing. It was just a shame. Obviously, it was tried out, and that was what was happening at the start. It was given a go, and yeah. So it's kind of it's another new era again now, isn't it? So let's go again.
Right. Yep. English Jose's back. In Aggie we trust. Yes, Chris Agutter's back. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with Aggie coming back. I think he's a good coach, and it works well with the youth, bringing the youth through. He's done an absolutely superb job over a number of years with us until he moved on. And what a cracking start as well. 2-1 against Margate. Simon, what do you think from afar? You're just observing this on the internet. What are you making of it all?
I do my best to keep up, and the internet's a godsend. And there's Facebook, WhatsApp, the podcast. There's various things that help me keep up to date, but you can't beat being there, you know. And that's why I'm looking forward to January. I'm back for 3 or 4 weeks in January to catch up with family, blah blah blah, and I'll obviously get some games in while I'm there. Following from over here, it's I don't know. It's just been a weird 6 months, isn't it? And the new team, I couldn't believe how well they started. And then it was almost as if one loss seemed to just bring it all to a crashing end, didn't it? And I couldn't really make up what was going on with it. And the FA Cup losing it. I'm not a fan of the FA Cup now. That's something else that we might discuss at some stage. The FA Cup.
Well, we're not in it, so we're not discussing.
I think it's a grossly overrated competition now. That they were devalued. It's
devalued. Yeah, I'd agree. It's devalued,
totally
but not
devalued. So's the trophy. When they talk about going to penalties after 90 minutes, what a joke, you know. But anyway, you know, it was just
he's having a rant. Go on, carry on.
It was one defeat after another, and then you had that, and then the one win in all that lot was against Three Bridges. So a Step 4 side who put quite a few kids out in the Sussex Senior Cup, and that was never going to light the fires, was it? And sure enough, a couple more defeats have followed that, didn't they? But that was fantastic Tuesday night, and it just seemed appropriate with Aggie back, didn't it? I mean, for you guys who were there, must have been really good. I certainly enjoyed it here. I tried not to wake the missus up, you know, punching the air. When I saw David had scored in the 80th minute, I tried desperately hard not to wake the missus up.
Have you seen the goal? It's on Twitter.
Yeah.
Lovely goal. Lovely well-taken goal.
That's another thing that makes it that really helps. Joe Knight's videos, and of course Neo Bridges videos. I mean, that one he did against Haringey when Akinwande got that winner in the last minute or whatever. What a video that was! Oh,
was that the forward row one? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if he's done that. Did he do that deliberately? I mean, I don't know. Absolutely brilliant. So
he needs to work on his he needs to work on his routine. We were expecting like jumping jacks, backward rolls. He hasn't done any of that yet. He hasn't topped it yet.
Yeah, but there's various ways of helping to keep up with it from afar, and which would have been impossible not many years ago, you know. So, and I'd still do my program column.
You do. Thoughts on Aggie though? Thoughts on Aggie, Simon?
Aggie, great, because he started it all off because he came with Adam Hinchelwood, didn't he? And Hinchelwood was in charge then, and of course Hinchelwood went to Worthing. And so Aggie took over and gradually worked his way of doing things in. You don't agree with everything the manager does. We never do, because we're all good managers, aren't we? We're all better than the guy that's standing in the technical area. But Aggie kicked things off to where we are now. And Gary Elphick was quick to say that he was so grateful to Chris Agutteer for helping him get things going the way he did. I know that we'll start hearing the thing about playing from the back again and all that. I'm sure we'll hear all that, but I just want to see some stability. I just want to see some. I just want to see some stability, mate. That's what I want to see. Stability, and I'd settle for mid-table finish happily, and then take it from there. Okay. I'm glad to get Chris back. Really am.
Okay. Well, I think it's brilliant news. I think it's a brilliant appointment for where we are now. Apart from anything else, it's not really that dissimilar to the kind of situation he inherited the first time around, when we were just in a bit of a muddle, and we kind of needed some stability and structure, and we needed to kind of remember what we were trying to do, really, what the fundamentals of the club are about. And he laid all of those foundations. Then gradually, I think I don't quite get the people who bang on about his style of play as if it's just a one-dimensional thing. Because the reality was that, you know, he started with quite a one-dimensional style of play. It was very passy, but then built on that layer upon layer, and then you ended up with the kind of team that Gary Elphick inherited, which was a league-winning team. So there's much,
and
more
that's what it's
complicated
about.
than that.
And that's what it's about, mate.
And those foundations really lasted until the summer. That's the team that went in the summer. So we've got to lay those foundations again. But I think you look through that squad. There's some good young players in there. It's really good to see some of them back. I'm really happy to see Cian Moynes back. Nobody ever mentions him, but I think he's a really promising, full of potential. And yeah, it's an exciting prospect, I think, to see all of that. Hopefully getting players back being coached in a system that's consistent with a manager who really believes in it all. Hopefully it settles a few people with regard to the owners as well, in that, we know that Chris Agutter's quite an ambitious young man. He wants to get on in the game. He's not going to be hanging around if there's the club stagnating. We also know that he's not slow to resign should the circumstances be not to his liking. So hopefully we can all move forward. We can get the young players firing. You can see that the squad needs a bit of reinforcement now that everybody's gone. But that team that was named on Saturday and Tuesday, you think, well, that's brilliant. Load of young players. That's a load of things for a proper coach to work with, and bring it on. Really.
All right, lovely. Right, Ben, you want to go crack in?
Yes. Well, I'm just slightly different to you guys because I got kind of the back of the Chris Agutter's reign in a way, because I was up in Scotland for so many years, so I didn't really see much Hastings football up until so it's like the back end, and then Gary took it on. So I only caught sort of the back end of it really, for actually going up to the pilot field and that. But obviously,
what you caught, Ben, was the end of a passing sequence that we started in like 3 seasons before. We were passing it sideways for 3 seasons, and then you arrived just at the point where we got it over the halfway line, maybe.
Yeah, possibly. This is all I keep hearing. This is all I keep hearing, though, to be honest.
With the main stand groaning in the background.
Yeah.
But that happened under Gary Elphick as well, and there was no please. I class them as the main stand, sort of the ball brigade, because all they want to do is moan, to be honest, instead of support. So, yeah, but that's obviously a debate elsewhere. But yeah, I'm delighted, to be honest. I got lucky enough on Tuesday night. I actually got an extra bonus Q&A with Chris and Lee Parnell. Big shout out to Lee Parnell for driving Tuesday night, actually.
Yeah, top man.
I wouldn't have been there if he didn't drive, probably, because funds are not the greatest at the moment. So he's helped out great there. And who else was it? Me, you, Lee, and Kevin Westbrook. Luckily enough, a curry and chips.
Get around in Westbrook.
The back end of the players' sweet dinner. After match dinner, with a little bit of curry and chips and a few Q&As, and I was made up, to be honest. I was lucky enough to have been there, and sort of the positivity that was coming out of his mouth, and what he's obviously heard from what the owners are saying, and in another debate what could be happening with the pilot field as well. It was all so positive, and I can only go on that. From what it was a few weeks ago under Paul Barnes and some of the players that were there, I was from Tuesday night. It was a breath of fresh air from the moment we got in the car to travelling up there. It was just a different buzz around just going for a pint, and everyone's buzzing to have him back. Do you know what I mean? Like I say, I didn't see all his time there before, but what I've heard now and just Tuesday to go by, of just everyone's just seems to be fired up again, ready to go. It's like, come on, let's go. It's obviously there is work to do, but that was a young side out there Tuesday night, and they all put in a shift. And in the day we was there, we thought we'll take a draw. If it's a draw, we'll take a draw just to get a point back on the board and get up and running points wise in the league, and to come away with that 3 points was just brilliant, and the scenes was justified with how they performed, and it was just great to be there, to be honest. The whole atmosphere was great as normal, but it was just that extra buzz. I just thought it was a great first game back for him. So and of course, and also when we spoke to him, he didn't have a lot of preparation going into the game. He didn't even have a training session with the players. It was a case of sort of, I think it was probably a few phone calls and get yourself up there. Whoever's not travelling with us, we'll meet at the ground and we'll have a chat then. So, and that was it. Just go with it. So it was pretty spontaneous in the way, and that's what makes it even better result, really, because the preparation wouldn't have been that great.
Well, what I find positive about it is obviously there's some of the London boys that are there that obviously, you think, maybe they're umming and ahhing about staying. Whatever he said to them, they were bang up for it. So, and they were playing like it. This is a different team from Wingate and Finchley, Kingstonian. This is, yes, a few players have gone, the Don Voses, the Tyler Christian, yours, but there is other players there that maybe their levels have gone down. They were up for it. I felt they were excellent. Like obviously Jamal, one of our youngsters that came in, great game. Obviously Freddie, David Rodari's finish, class finish, and even the Margate manager said that we were deserved winners, like we were on top that game. We weren't lucky, that when we went 1-0 down, the heads didn't go down. Obviously the fans behind the goal and everything, we kept giving our support as well. It was just a great away day, come back, 2-1 victory. It was just, it was just great to be there.
Also, with the fact with the youngsters as well, they're probably thinking, "Oh, this is great," because they've for weeks on end, going back to Paul Barnes, he didn't like to change it. It felt like he was playing players because he brought them in. He was trying to make sure they
play him into form. I thought
the team almost picked itself every game, didn't it, for a while, and that happens when you're on a winning streak and you're winning games. And you don't mind, and that's what did happen when we were winning. But it didn't want to change it, did he? And then you felt for the youngsters they might have come in for 45 minutes and then they were getting taken off, or they would only come in because someone was injured. And you don't know if they're going to play the next game. And even if they played well, you thought, well, probably one of his mates would come back in, and away we went. I.e., Tyler Christian Roy played pretty much every game, and I wouldn't have put him anywhere near the side in the first place, let alone captaincy. That's just a prime example. But it's brilliant for the youngsters to be, and they'll be coached brilliantly by him. It clearly is great for the youngsters. Obviously, he comes in from the Brighton Academy, where he's obviously finishing off his contract, whatever it is there, and it's brilliant for everybody, really. And like you say about the London lads, obviously they're not there. Not all of them have gone. Some of them are still here, and they were fired up just as much as what the youngsters was and what we were. Do you know what I mean? So that's so positive.
It was great. I'm very happy. And I was Terry Scott, who's not here, just to say, Terry Scott, she was too. Wasn't depressed, but she didn't want to come on. She was too down about her side. I must give her a shout out. The wonderful Terry Scott on Margate. Unbelievably, her own fans slagging her off. Margate, what a crap bunch of fans.
Awful.
Just like, and how many were there? Like a couple hundred?
Well, the attendance, they said, what I saw earlier was 293. I thought actually it was more than that there.
It felt like that, but that was just where we were, wasn't it? I mean,
I actually felt like more than what a Pilot Field crowd of 800 sometimes. But honestly, I actually thought there was more than that, and you think you could hear, they were that quiet, you could hear just her from the other end of the ground. And you imagine what 14 of us voices were like, and a drum getting across there. You know what I mean?
We didn't sing to the Margate, we were singing to the Terry. That's what we were trying to get her to sing songs back at us, because their Margate would what a terrible. Anyway, they don't deserve her. They don't deserve her.
We were singing to them, weren't we? Terry's too loud for you.
Yeah.
Is she available on the transfer at all? Can we negotiate terms?
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyway, bless her.
Chris would love that.
No, shut up with you. Right? No, but Terry Scott, lovely lady.
Yeah, she is.
We got she gave us all a stick of rock, didn't she?
She did.
A Margate stick of rock.
Margate rock. Yeah.
And 3 points. Thanks, Terry.
And a really good night. Cheers, Terry.
Yeah, that was very good. So, all right, and so we move on from Margate. We got a toughie Saturday. Carl Shorten. The league somewhat lies because they're fifth, but I think 7 games now without a win. So, what do we think, chaps?
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, they top at one point. They were top at one point, weren't
they? They're probably, because if they haven't won for 7 games,
they was well up. They was well up there, first or second. They were.
So,
you boys crack on. What do you think Saturday?
Yeah, Ian. Simon?
Well, you just got to follow it up with a performance, haven't we? Otherwise Tuesday night only really means anything if we follow it up. So that's the thing. You just want a performance.
Rodari's banned for this game.
Oh, is he?
So it could be Harry Ralph up front.
Where was Freddie playing the other night? Was he coming down the right flank like he was last season when I last saw him? Freddie Legg.
Yeah, we was trying to work out the formation when the lineup come out. But I come to the conclusion it was like a 5-3-2 defensively, stroke 3-5-2 attacking, and Freddie was more like the right wing back.
Yeah, okay.
That's what that's how I looked at it, and he had like TT Walters was kind of swapping flanks as well. He was drifting all over. But yeah, Freddie was he was the right side anyway.
How was Ollie Black the other night? I saw his long throw creating mayhem then, and he came back pretty quick, didn't he?
Yep.
Very quick.
And he's the reason we were 1-1. Great throw in. They couldn't deal with it, and they politely put it in their own net. Bless them, Margate.
I know there's more to Ollie than his long throws, but he was wasted at county league level. I'm not 100% sure about him at this level, but it's good. It's good to get him back. I like Ollie. It's good to get him back. Was it the training? It was the training that up in London that saw him go in the first place, wasn't it? Was it?
Probably. I don't know. Or they didn't fancy him. I don't know about Ollie Black. Anything?
Well,
in terms of why he went.
I think without knowing the true facts, I think the training at Greenwich played a part in one or two of them. I think for sure.
Right.
Why they?
I'm sure.
I didn't. Well, what? It's not up for me to say, but I didn't. I'm not sure how you could have a proper group of players. Some are training up there, some didn't even go sometimes, and then having split travelling. You can't get a proper team together. It
was a joke.
It was a bit of a mess, really. But yeah, that's like I say. I think it was more to do with a few of them didn't fancy the Greenwich. That was definitely an issue there, I think.
I'm sure Chris is beavering away, looking to get a few in, but we'll have to wait and see, won't we?
Well, I think without knowing yet, I'd like to think there will probably be a couple coming in before Saturday.
Yeah.
You reckon?
Yeah, I can't see it being as it is from Tuesday night. I think even though it was a great result, whatever, but we know there needs to be a couple more additions.
I suppose if you can get them in time, though, that's the thing, isn't it?
There's still time, isn't it? Doesn't it? It all happens so quickly. No one wants to tell you nothing, and they just throw it out there. Well, look at that amazing signing, that last signing we had. He was signed, and then he didn't kick a ball, and he was away to Welling, wherever he went. Kareem, wasn't it? Kareem.
No, the best one was Jamal Hector Ingram, but he did play a couple of games. He's still down. He's still down the pub. Yeah, maybe he had to have been there. It's his song. But yeah, so Carl Shorten, my heart says we're winning, but my head's thinking, we'll do well to let's just get a point. Let's just as long as we're solid,
Yeah.
It's not about.
I think we need to give people something to buy into, don't we? Because it has been a mess over the last few home games, and it doesn't really give anybody anything to kind of really get their teeth into. So a performance, a draw would be fine, really, wouldn't it? Just something to show that we're making progress, that we've got that things are happening, things are changing for the better.
Well, hopefully the Pilot Field's going to be bouncing, and all us fans, and particularly the main stand, who I know are not going to moan at all.
To be fair, I don't think you can bounce in the main stand. I think
it'll come down,
fall down.
That'll upset John Wills.
Definitely bring it down.
I'm surprised a few moans and groans hasn't taken a few roof tiles off.
But I mean, as I say, I just think I think the atmosphere is going to be great Saturday. The weather might not be, and you never know, the weather might intervene here because the forecast ain't great. But
that'd be gutting, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah,
that would be gutting.
Sorry to bring that downer in.
Oh man,
I'm sorry.
I was happy before that.
Yeah,
you could just sense he's so pleased to be back. He feels like this is where he wants to be, and I think he'll turn quite a few heads from who obviously do have doubts about him. And I think with the backing, it's coming in under a different situation this time, isn't it? You've got totally different owners, proper Hastings people.
Yeah.
as in owners, and they're going to support him along the way. I think this is personally think this isn't just a stopgap. This could be for a while, and I think it'll be given the time, and then, like I say, the other things will fall into place. I think there's a lot of things about sponsorships and that getting done off the field as well, obviously getting tidied up. We see a lot. We're more engaged with the social media side of things more than we used to be. That sort of things getting sorted out. Just the small things, it'll all click into place hopefully. And going back to Aggie, I think he sounded absolutely buzzing. He was back, and he was just loving it. So let's go Saturday night. Carshalton will be a tough game. They've obviously got something to prove, them players, on the back of a bad run, and the place should be bouncing. Let's be honest. You're not going to please everybody, are you? At the end of the day, that's football. Everyone's going to have an opinion. You're not going to please everybody. Managers' decisions, players' decisions. It's very hard to get two people on the same page. But I think it's really positive, and if we can get a draw Saturday, it'd be a really good result, and it's stability as well, isn't it?
Well, that's the thing. We're talking about obviously Aggie coming in. It's part of a few things, as you've already mentioned, Ben. That hopefully I'm going to get Ben White and Andy Batsford on. That there's some proper developments that are exciting about the pilot field, and they could. This to me is just going hand in hand. The proper appointment, proper manager in, real good developments with the ground that are going to be great for the community as well. That I think most people are going to be on board with.
Do you know what the big thing is though? When you look at the situation of this time last year, and it also proves what a cracking job Gary Elphick did do with all the distractions of cough Eastbourne, which obviously was never happening, and also Carl Kiln and all that. That's a big distraction, and for the fact of the matter that Gary and the team put a lot of that, tried to shut away from all that, would have been so hard, and to go and do what they did last season was really, really good. And that's what I mean. That's why it's so Aggie has come in now, and he hasn't got that distraction, which is so important. There's no such thing about Tolkien's done whatever that's down Queensway and out of the way. But he can concentrate on the team, and like you say, we hear about little things about the pilot field and developments at the pilot field. It's only going to help. It's only positive.
There's the opportunity, isn't there, for the whole club to be pulling in the same direction, which hasn't happened for a little while, and potentially for the town to be backing that up as well. And that would be fantastic. That could be really something.
It feels like the council are obviously happy to work with the Whites, and it's so big, isn't it? To be honest.
Yeah.
Instead of what was there before.
Well, it reached just an intractable point, hadn't it, with the previous owners? I mean, I think we've obviously been through all of the ins and outs of that, but it just got to that point where there was just no going back in terms of any kind of relationship between them and the council. And so, just starting that again is a great thing, really. Hopefully, it will yield some results.
Yeah, soon we can talk about that. Right, go on, Simon.
Have there been? Sorry, I'm cutting in a bit on the ground. Actually, have there been some developments regarding the pilot field, or are we still where we are and people getting to know each other and this and that and the other? Or
I think they've gone past the first date, Simon. They're on to coffee and chocolates now.
Oh right,
yeah.
I mean, that's a whole image that I really didn't want.
Yeah, no, Simon. There's lots of meetings going on, and hopefully something's going to be announced in the next week or two about the provisional sort of plans is what I'm aware of. So I don't really want to say anything and bugger anything up. So
yeah.
But hopefully we'll have obviously Ben on. I think there's a fan forum being arranged as far as I'm aware.
Excellent.
And I might catch him after that probably. But
was it not originally planned for 3rd, 4th November? I can't imagine.
Oh, what, the fan forum? I don't know. I ain't seen yet.
Apparently something was penciled in, but originally that was a while ago, so I heard. But I don't know if it's still taking place. But
find out Saturday.
I can imagine we might know something. But I felt
this
like
is Ben White you're talking about, yeah?
Well, Dean White, Ben White. Well,
yeah.
I imagine they'll be taking it along with obviously
with Chris
I
Agutterer.
imagine Aggie a bit up the front as well. I expect.
I remember Ben making his debut for Hastings Hastings Town when he was 15 against. He was 15 or 16, and he played a Southern League Premier game towards the end of the season. It was. This would have been back in, I don't know, the mid-90s, and he was about 15, I'm sure, and he made his debut against Halesowen Town in the Southern League Prem. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Did you barrack him?
He looked all right then. I still recall that. That was a long time ago. I also remember Dean when he was manager. He came to some sort of this was against Halesowen again. Might even have been the same game. We played Halesowen, and the referee was it was the last game of the season, and it was the referee's final game. He was retiring, and Dean came to an arrangement with the two linesmen. And maybe the opposing manager was in on it as well. And he pretended to dispute a decision just right at the end of the game.
Yeah.
And he went up to the ref and tipped a bucket of water over his head. And it was all part of it. All part of it. The linesmen were in on it. One great bit of football comedy. Referees could be all right sometimes, and this one was very good. But I remember Ben making his debut when he was, he was in his mid-teens. Yeah. It's good to see the Whites involved. I'm really pleased to see them there. Yeah, it's good.
All right. Well, yeah. Any forum comes up, and if any podcast comes out before then, I'll make sure I advertise it.
Yeah, Ben was a good player. I played alongside Ben a few games for. I was actually in the reserves at the time, so that was where was I? That was almost coming up to sort of 2003, 2004, something like that. Alongside him in the midfield, there he's a good player, really good player.
How was your hair then, Ben? Was it a comb over at the time? Your hair?
I ain't telling you. Don't worry about it like that.
No need for that, Chris. No need for that.
It's going. Mine's going now. Going back there.
Good.
It's obviously not that now, anyway.
Yeah.
But no. Dean and Ben, proper Hastings people.
Exactly.
I've got a lot of time for them. Obviously, I know them. I know Ben obviously quite really well, and Dean I'll chat away to him anyway, and he's very open, but they're ruthless, and I've already proved that.
Yeah.
No, it's good.
Well, they got on with it, didn't they? They saw it needed sorting, and they went in there and they did that. And
yeah,
well done to them. Well done to them. Is Glyn White involved as well? Is he involved in some way with some of the youth set up there?
I think he's got some sort of role, because he was part of the the interim on Saturday, wasn't he? Along with Ben Cornelius, who's with the younger ones as well.
Yeah.
And Sean Ray, they kind of took an interim role on Billericay, didn't they? But I think they all have some sort of part with the academy.
Barry White, is Barry White involved at
all? No, that's one White we'll leave out, I think. Yeah. Just finishing off for me, another big bit of light at the end of the tunnel. Tom Chalmers is coming along well.
Really soon.
Yeah, fantastic. Be good to see him back.
December he's back, isn't he? Is that
Something
what last I heard?
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. Yeah.
Matt, obviously Matt is a relation of Tom. Didn't he say December, Ben? Or did he say November?
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Yeah, sort of end of November, December time. Yeah. I hope he's not rushed back. It's not like it's sort of end of the season business. It is. We're bang in the middle of the season. Just take his time with it.
Yeah, easy back.
It's a big op he had. So it's.
I know, but he's young. He'll want to rush it back, wouldn't he?
He's eager to be back. And what's good about Tom as well is he's been with the team every single game. This season, from what I've seen, he's been there every game, pretty much all the training sessions. And he's obviously eager to get out there. But it's not a rush job, that's for sure.
Talking of people that have been there every game, your personal photographer's been there every game. You got anything to say about Scott White?
Why'd you always
Scott White?
Obviously,
I can't let it go, mate. I can't let it go. Scott White. every time, your big head's in the way. I tell you.
We've had three managers in the last 6 months. It just seems.
You're the kiss of death, mate. Kiss of death.
I think this could be a while. This one. There won't be another one.
No, it won't be. Yeah, exactly. No, absolutely. In Aggie, we trust, mate. English Jose, I can love him.
Yeah.
Right, boys. Ben,
Yep.
Ian, Simon, thanks for coming on. Take care, lads, and see you at the game. And I'll see you in January at the game, Simon.
You will, mate. I'll be there. I'll be there.
All
All right, boys.
Take care, chaps.
See you later, Simon.
Yeah, mate.
Nice.
Bye.
See you later.
Cheers.
See you later.